Do we need to watch the trailer again? Or are we good?
I'm good. I've seen it like a billion
10.
times. I don't like you.
That's a
I don't
fair
like
assessment.
you at all.
I respect that assessment.
So let's talk about Logan, the third movie in the Wolverine trilogy that looks like it's also going to be the best, from at least the trailer.
Oh, yeah. And I haven't even seen the other ones.
You're missing out on the Wolverine.
The Wolverine, that one was good, from what I've heard.
If you watch the extended cut.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Wasn't
the theatrical
Origins,
cut, maybe no.
I heard Origins was doo-doo.
It was garbage.
Which is a bummer, because whatever. But anyways,
I mean, they were they were planning to make more Origins films for like other characters, and that one killed that entire franchise before it got any more movies.
So there could have been like 15 X-Men movies by
I
now?
thought they were going to do an Origins for Cyclops and maybe someone else as well, but they just never did because that movie was so bad.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, and I do want to preface that I've only seen the first one in Days of Future Past, so I'm not great.
Oh, you're a liar then. You can't talk about this unless you've seen all
You're right.
8 or 9.
I'm leaving.
I mean, I've seen every single one of them except Apocalypse.
Wow.
But
yeah.
I
heard Apocalypse was like kind of...
looked okay.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't a bad movie.
I will watch it, and the reason I will watch it is, I don't remember the actor's name, but the guy who plays Quicksilver in those, like, prequel movies.
He's good.
He's fantastic.
He's
great.
Awesome.
I really like him. He was better, in my opinion, than the Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think that's his name. He was the one who played Kick-Ass, and he played Quicksilver in Avengers 2.
I was going to say, because didn't he... I mean, spoiler alert.
Well, spoiler alert for Age of Ultron, that movie everyone hated except me.
Didn't he die?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, he did die.
That's just weird to me that there's two separate Quicksilvers going on at the same time.
Also, it made no sense because, like, he was fast enough to run in front of the bullets, but not fast enough to grab them and pull them out of the way of the bullets.
What the
heck?
It
was just a dumb death.
What?
It was just a dumb death. I like that idea, like, hey, let's introduce new Avengers and kill one of them.
He was my new favorite, to be honest with you. I liked him a lot.
Well,
I mean, Iron Man... Okay. I shouldn't say my new favorite. Iron Man's sick. And I do like Captain.
My favorite,
I do like Captain America. Quicksilver was cool. I think he was better than Hawkeye. I think I don't know. Well, actually, it's not hard to beat Hawkeye now that I think about it. So
I don't.
Maybe
like
he's not my
favorite. I
favorite.
like Jeremy Renner, but
maybe
I don't
just
like
erase
Hawkeye.
what I just said. It's a stupid statement.
Edit it out.
Just edit the whole thing.
I'm keeping it in. But anyway, so Logan looks like it's just going to be ridiculously good. I mean, we only have one trailer to go off of, but the tone they've set is really Western. They said they want it to be more like a Western than a superhero movie. Looks like it's going to be fairly small scale, more of like an emotional small scale movie. Like, I mean, Deadpool wasn't emotional. I mean, parts of it were supposed to be, but it wasn't really. You know, no one who was a fan of Deadpool was there for the love story. That was general audience.
It was a lot more comedic.
Yeah, but
backbone.
But it was also small scale, like few sets,
for sure,
few areas,
for sure.
And like they did a lot with what they had to work with. Logan looks like it has a higher budget than that.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh my gosh, yeah.
But it also looks like a more small scale film that's not like relying on like a ton of CGI or anything.
No, and I think the tone for this movie kind of reminds me of the Dark Knight Rises tone when the posters came out.
Not seeing it.
No, but the way that they marketed it though.
Perhaps he is wondering why Professor X has like this mental degenerative disease when you threw him out of an airplane.
Oh my god!
I don't know. What does he have, by the way?
I have no idea.
It's like
no clue.
I think it's supposed to be like Alzheimer's, basically. I think, but I'm not sure because they were talking about that in an interview.
Well, and if you look at the trailer too, when he's like in the bed in his room and he's like looking up, he looks completely out of it. I don't know. He just looks like
Wolverine's
brain dead.
Like Logan is taking care of him in this.
Yeah,
he's like his caretaker.
So I guess the question is, are they both gonna die, or do they both go off in the sunset at the end of this?
I mean, I'm pretty sure Professor X is dead.
Really? Like, for sure?
I think so, yeah. I think he's going to be just dead. Because Patrick Stewart's in his 70s.
Is it 70s? I thought he might have been 80. Well,
is he 80?
I don't know. I could be totally wrong.
I thought he was in his late 70s. But, like, he's not... He was really cool to come back for this role, but there was a reason they moved away from that older cast. You know? Because the
Yeah.
older cast was getting pretty old in those original movies.
They are, yeah. And I think, like, the problem is, too, is the new cast, like, Jennifer Lawrence, she's a great box office draw, but I don't know how well that's working as
Well,
far
she's
as,
also
like,
not going to keep doing it.
that's a problem,
Like,
too.
she said she doesn't want to keep doing Mystique. She's done it for, like, 3 or 4 movies, and she said she doesn't want to come back and keep doing it.
Well, she complains about, like, the makeup and stuff.
Yeah.
She hates that.
Yeah.
So, I
She
don't
looks
know.
hot as hell, though. So, I mean, it's doing wonders.
I don't know.
It's inspired some good cosplay. But I don't know, like, I'm really looking forward to this film. I loved the Wolverine, the unrated version. I can't speak for the theater version. I didn't see it. I heard it was not nearly as good. The unrated of that is approaching an R, but probably not quite there. It was much darker than, like, Origins, and it was much darker than, like, a lot of those earlier X-Men movies, but it wasn't an R. Like, if they had it rated, it still wouldn't have been an R. But it would have been darker, and this they confirmed is just a straight up R.
Which is cool, and they totally set the tone for that in the trailer too. When he like comes out of the door and puts his claws through that guy's skull,
Yeah.
they're totally setting the tone. This is what type of movie it's going to be. The music in the background, it's going to be dark, it's going to be graphic, and I mean, I don't know. I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, I do too. I'm really looking forward to this. As somebody who's gotten like a little tired of a lot of the superhero movies, like, I love this superhero stuff. I love the comics. I like video games based on the stuff, but like, a lot of the movies are just the same beats over and over again, you know, and it's kind of wearing on me. Like, it's gotten to the point where I'm not seeing all of them anymore because I just don't care. This is one of the ones that I really, really for sure am seeing.
It seems like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And it's just something different. It's not the typical building a character, he goes through some kind of lame villain, and then he's established. Where
Yeah.
this is
This is
already
like
an established guy.
Well,
who
he's
is coming
like
to the end of his story.
Yeah, he's like disestablished even. Like, he was like established for a long time, and now he's like old as hell.
Yeah.
And like, he's done. You know what I mean? You
Well,
see his healing powers don't work nearly as well in the trailer.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting for the audience as well, because you're seeing something that, with the superhero movies that keep getting pumped out, it's something refreshing, something different to see something end and to see a little bit of closure in one area of the superhero genre, because it keeps going on and on and on.
Yeah.
And they've announced so many movies into 2025, I think. So
And-
it's like,
and, like,
to
even-
have that closure is kind of, it's really, I guess, impactful to the audience, I think.
And a lot of, as good as Marvel does with a lot of their movies, I would say, for me at least, they're hit or miss as far as like if they're good. I mean, there's also a difference between enjoyable and good, you know? And I think a lot of, despite what the critics will say, I personally think a lot of the superhero movies, and I'll even say this for DC, are more enjoyable than they are good movies. You know, like, if you're not somebody who's already into this stuff, a lot of those movies I don't think are going to make you into it. Captain America 1, you know, like, who's that going to make, like, love Captain America who didn't already? And I mean, I already liked him, and I didn't even like that movie. I like 2 a lot.
Yeah, well, and those movies, like, I don't know, like, I think Iron Man 1 does a good job of bringing in a general audience.
It does, yeah.
And I think just, it was kind of hit or miss in the opening, and then they got the ball rolling.
I really think that I think this should be made primarily for the people who like this stuff already, but made in a way that also draws in general audience as well, so they keep making them, you know? Like, I think the core audience for these movies should not be general audience. I do think it should be people who already like this stuff.
But they don't really have a choice, though.
Right. No, that's true. But, like, I feel like Logan is a movie that is aimed at people who already like Wolverine, is something I will say. And Deadpool was, too. It was done in a way, though, where it also drew in everybody else. And that's what I think they need to do. I don't think they should look at it first as, how do we get everyone here? I think they should look at it as, like, these people have loved this culture / type of, you know, product forever. How do we make them happy and make something that will make them happy? Because they've been funding this crap for 10 years. You know, like, this nerd audience, or whatever you wanted to say, like, I don't like labeling it that, but that's, you know, what it's considered. They're the people who have made it possible to make these movies. Because if they never bought into all this comics crap in the first place, there would be no movie to make. So I think those are the people that you should focus on, but then once you've established that, you need to broaden it with one, how you present the movie in trailers, which I think Logan did an amazing job of. Two, like how you play out the themes to like actually, you know, beat by beat draw people in instead of it just being a nerdgasm. You know, stuff like that. So I think that Logan is kind of doing that. I think it's a movie directed at people who already love Wolverine, but it's also presented in the trailer as something so badass, you know, such a badass action movie that, like, whether you've seen any X-Men or not, this looks like a movie that if you like action films, you should see.
Yeah, and I think so. They've established and they've gone after the general audience for so many movies that this is kind of like a tribute to the fans that have been there for the whole time, and a tribute to Hugh Jackman for sticking it out for 16 years.
Yeah,
I think he deserves a good ending, and the fans deserve a good ending from Wolverine as well. And I think that's what they're focused on. They're like, the people that have stuck with us for 10 films or whatever deserve this movie that is going to give him a good ending.
Because half of those films were garbage. Yeah. Like, let's be honest.
And so I think that's what their main focus is.
Yeah, I'm
even
glad.
It's not even mainly, I think, for the general audience at this point, because I think they have a pretty solid audience that's going to go see this movie no matter what. But even just to make those people satisfied with how Wolverine is ending.
And maybe that's the best thing to do. They didn't do that with Origins, but maybe the best thing to do is do a movie that draws everybody in and then move it into just totally nerd territory. You know?
Sure.
Well, and I think that's kind of what they've done. Days of Future Past, that certainly wasn't... That was not a movie you would have seen 10 years ago for general audience. It just wasn't. You know? If you look at X-Men 1, that's the movie you would have seen 10 to 15 years ago for general audience. It's still good, but it's like there's... Even between X-Men 1 and Days of Future Past, there is a huge quality gap. And the fact remains that, like, if they write these things at least somewhat based on, like, the source material, it almost always turns out better. There's only a few instances where it didn't. So I think that it's really good that they're basing this off of Old Man Logan, and they're really pushing in a direction that I think will be interesting for everybody and a good way to send Hugh out of the franchise. Absolutely. And let him move on with his life and do something else, you know? The guy's certainly stuck this character out, but, like, he's had skin cancer, like, 4 or 5 times now, you know? And I think that, like, Hugh should be allowed to move on, do some other, you know, characters, and enjoy the rest of his life, however long that is, as morbid as that sounds. Because it could be 40 years, you know, longer, could be 50 years longer, could be 5. He doesn't know, because it keeps coming back. So the thing is, like, you know, the guy kind of wants out, and I think this looks like an amazing way to send him out. And I just want to say, like, not that he'll watch this, but, like the original X-Men movies, as much as I hate 3, were a big part of my childhood. And a huge thank you for me, at least as a fan, to Hugh Jackman for portraying the character, you know, the way he has. Despite the writing problems, he's been, like, the one thing about the X-Men franchise that has always been fantastic. So, you know, the guy's amazing. I give him props for that. So anyway, guys, let us know what you think about the movie, about the trailer down in the comments. We love hearing your guys' opinions. Please subscribe to find some more content from us. It really helps us out. And we'll catch you later. Peace.